The recent turn of events in Formula 1 has certainly been unexpected and has added new levels of drama to the sport, with the Williams team, which has been storied history in Formula 1, being charged with a $149 million lawsuit by former team sponsor ROKiT. The stakes have been raised even higher. Could this be the end of one of our teams on the grid? Make sure to stick with us to the end to find out. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The American telecommunications company lodged legal action against the team in Florida court this week, seeking $149 million in damages. According to ROKiT, Williams promised to provide a competitive car for the 2019 season, despite knowing that they did not have the financial resources to fulfill the promise. Williams intentionally and fraudulently concealed the fact that Williams Engineering simply did not have enough money to develop the F1 car, which would be subject to the sponsorship agreements to an industry-leading standard, the filing reads. ROKiT further argued that Williams Racing was declared that Williams FW42 would place in the upper side of the leaderboard and would not be slower than the 2018 Williams F1 car. While it knew that the F1 car, which would be subject to the sponsorship agreement, had no chance to be competitive, or at least place in the upper side of the leaderboard, and actively concealed this fact. In addition to the team itself, the lawsuit names as defendants former deputy team principal Claire Williams, as well as former team executives Mike O'Driscoll, who served as CEO, and Doug Lafferty, who was the chief financial officer. All three left the team in the autumn of 2020 as a result of the acquisition by Dorilton. The action has been launched on behalf of parent companies ROKiT World Incorporated and ROKiT World Limited by Larry Klayman, a well-known lawyer who has previously been engaged in numerous high-profile legal proceedings, including some against former US President Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. ROKiT CEO Jonathan Kendrick signed a 3-year contract with Williams in January 2019, and his firm served as a title sponsor of the team for the whole of that season. The contract was then extended for another 2 years. An additional arrangement with the sibling ROKiT Drinks Company was also agreed upon. ROKiT fulfilled its financial commitments in 2019, and the company's logos were on the car for the cancelled Australian GP weekend at the start of 2020, but prior to the 2020 season, which was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, ROKiT backed out of the deal and left Williams without a title sponsor. When a limited calendar was initially announced by F1, ROKiT said it offered to pay a percentage of agreed fees. However, the sponsorship deal was cancelled by Williams in May before the season began, as the team was in negotiations with their new owners, Dorilton Capital. The global venture capital conglomerate claimed that it had not received the rights it was contractually due, owing to the cancellation of the races, but Williams cited that the contract cancellation came down to the late payment of sponsorship fees. According to the reports, ROKiT had agreed to pay varying installments at prescribed times. Arbitrator Klaus Reichardt found that while ROKiT were initially pleased with the deals and promised to pay what they owed, Williams never received the money. Reichardt rejected arguments from ROKiT that they had withheld from Williams because the team had not fulfilled their obligations under the deal after 1st of January 2020 up until March 2020. ROKiT were said to be unambiguously promising payment to the team. This coincided with the team's announcement that it was undergoing a strategic review, which led to the independent, family-owned team being sold to the US-based private investment company Dorilton Capital later that year. The dispute over the unpaid fees for 2020 was eventually resolved in the London Court of International Arbitration, where Williams ultimately won. Williams was awarded a then sum of US $35.7 million, which has since required action to be taken in a federal court in LA, and then through the Central District Court of California. For the money to be obtained, the $35.7 million includes a $1 million bonus payment, which was promised by ROKiT co-founder Jonathan Kendrick in 2019. Later, a ROKiT employee sent a document to the team which bears all the indicia of an instruction to a bank to wire the $24.4 million that was owed at the time. But now there's a new claim which isn't about paid or unpaid money. It's about something which could be hard to prove. The new court submission claims that the arbitrator was not aware of the fraudulent concealment of statements of material facts by defendants that were not discovered until after the arbitration had concluded, and the Rocket learned that the car was never capable of performing to the standards that defendants had guaranteed to the plaintiffs, and that defendants were aware of the concealed fact. It adds that the defendants intentionally and fraudulently concealed the fact that Williams Engineering simply did not have enough money to develop the F1 car. The claim says that, as a direct and proximate result of the fraudulent statements made by the defendants, plaintiffs have suffered significant financial loss and damage to their goodwill and business reputation, and asked for compensation for an amount in excess of $149,528,550. When asked about the legal action, the team told Williams Racing is aware of this spurious claim, having successfully won an arbitration against Rocket in the UK and successfully petitioning for the arbitral award to be confirmed by a federal court in the US. Williams continues to trust in the court process in regard to this unfortunate matter. Although they are legendary as a team with a history of championships, Williams has been uncompetitive over the past couple of seasons. This led to the damage in the company reputation. "I don't want to do this, but we think we've been wronged," he told Motorsport. Why this came about was that COVID hit and the whole 2020 season was cancelled. That's why we didn't pay them. And then the season, if you remember, was only going to be 50%, so we offered 50% in writing and they refused it immediately after they cancelled our whole contract and sued us for the whole amount, even though we wouldn't have anything on the car. I've got the email saying we'll pay you half, and then they cancelled it on Instagram. They didn't even tell us. Before we signed it, we asked exactly those questions in front of my board, he continued. What is the state of the car and what is the state of development? And we were told X, Y, and Z, and it never was true, and that's what we think we can prove, particularly when we go to court. The warrants and commitments that were given by the board to us could never, ever have been fulfilled, and they just simply were not true. If you remember, they turned up at Barcelona 2019 late because they hadn't got the money to do it. A few people have come forward that used to work for Williams and have given some very important information, Kendrick said. He added, "I really didn't want to do this, I really didn't, but because they've come after us, I've got no choice. I don't like it, but it's not fair the way it's done." With that, we've reached the end of our video. Thanks for hanging in there till the end. If you've liked the video, then do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Until next time.